They showed up at my door on a Tuesday afternoon in November 2024. 6 months. 6 months of silence. 6 months after they threw me out of the home I'd lived in for 38 years. 6 months after my daughter-in-law told me I was dead weight, and my son stood there and watched her say it. Now here they were, standing in the marble-floored lobby of the residences at Pacific Heights, San Francisco's most exclusive address. Designer luggage. Forced smiles. Arms open like we were about to have some heartwarming reunion. My son, Tyler, 34 years old, wearing a suit he couldn't afford, cleared his throat. "Mom, we heard about the penthouse. We're so proud of you. We want to make things right. We want to move in. Start over. Be a family again." His wife, Brooke, nodded enthusiastically, her Chanel bag catching the light. "We've been doing a lot of reflection, Eleanor. We were wrong. We want to make peace." I looked at them. Really looked at them. At the desperation barely hidden behind those rehearsed words. On the way Tyler's eyes kept darting to the elevator that led to the penthouses. At how Brooke's smile didn't quite reach her eyes. 6 months ago, they'd put my belongings in garbage bags on the lawn. 6 months ago, Tyler told me I needed to figure out my own life because I was bringing down the household energy. 6 months ago, Brooke posted on social media about cutting off toxic family members, even if they're blood. I was 68 years old, newly widowed, and they threw me away like trash. Now they wanted back in. Because somehow, and this is what they couldn't figure out, somehow the broke old woman they discarded had bought a $12 million penthouse in one of the most expensive buildings in America. I smiled. The kind of smile that doesn't touch your eyes. "Come in," I said. "Let's talk." What they saw when those elevator doors opened wasn't just a penthouse. It was proof of everything they'd been too greedy and too stupid to understand. And by the time they left and they would leave, they'd know exactly what they'd thrown away. My name is Eleanor Park. I'm 68 years old. And this is the story of how I rebuilt my life after my own family destroyed it and what happened when they tried to crawl back. This story isn't about revenge. It's about something better. It's about what happens when you stop waiting for people to see your worth and start showing it. It's about rising from absolute devastation to a life beyond anything you imagined. And it's about the moment when the people who broke you realize they made the biggest mistake of their lives, and it's too late to fix it. Before I tell you what happened in that penthouse, I need you to do something right now. Hit that subscribe button. Because what you're about to hear will change how you think about family, loyalty, and what you deserve in this life. This story has twists you won't see coming. It has a transformation so complete that you'll question everything you thought you knew about starting over after 65. If you've ever been underestimated, discarded, or told you were too old, too broke, or too broken to matter, this story is for you. Now, let's go back to where this really started. 6 months before they showed up at my door. The day my world ended. March 2024. Oakland, California. My husband, David, died on March 3rd. Massive stroke. He was 71. We'd been married for 42 years. The funeral was small. 20 people. Tyler gave a eulogy that sounded like he'd written it the night before. Brooke checked her phone 3 times during the service. I was numb. Not just from grief, but from the weight of what I was facing. David had been a high school teacher. I'd been a librarian. We'd lived modestly, saved carefully, and owned our 3-bedroom house in East Oakland outright. It wasn't much, but it was ours. Or so I thought. 2 weeks after the funeral, Tyler sat me down at my kitchen table. Brooke stood behind him, arms crossed. "Mom, we need to talk about your situation." "My situation? You can't live here alone. This house is too big. The property taxes are insane. And honestly, you're not safe here by yourself." I stared at him. "Tyler, I've lived in this house for 38 years. "Exactly. You're 68 years old. What if you fall? What if something happens and no one's here?" Brooke jumped in. "We're worried about you, Eleanor. We think you should sell the house and move in with us. We have that extra room in the back. It's small, but it's enough for you." The extra room. The one they used for storage. 7 feet by 9 feet. No windows. "I don't want to sell my house." Tyler's face hardened. "Mom, be realistic. Your pension and Dad's Social Security, that's what, $4,000 a month? How are you going to maintain this place? What happens when the roof needs repairs? When will the furnace break?" "I'll figure it out." "No, you won't. You're not thinking clearly. You're grieving. You're not making good decisions." That's when I should have seen it. The way he talked to me like I was a child. The way Brooke looked at me like I was a problem to solve. But I was drowning in grief. I was exhausted. And when your only child tells you he's worried about you, you want to believe it's love. So I said yes. I sold my house. The market was good. I got $680,000 for it. After paying off David's medical bills and the funeral costs, I had about $600,000 left. Tyler said he'd help me invest it. Keep it safe, he said. Make sure you're taken care of. I transferred it to a joint account. For emergencies, he said. So he could help manage things. That was my first mistake. I moved into Tyler and Brooke's house in Walnut Creek in late April. A 4-bedroom suburban house they'd bought 3 years earlier. Tyler worked in tech sales. Brooke was a wellness influencer with 48,000 Instagram followers. They made good money, but they spent better than they made. The room in the back was worse than I'd imagined. It had been their home gym. They'd cleared out the weights, but left the rubber floor mats and the smell of sweat. There was a twin bed, a small dresser, and no closet. It's temporary, Brooke said brightly. Just until we figure out something more permanent. I unpacked my life into 2 suitcases and a cardboard box. The rules started immediately. No cooking after 7 p.m., it made the kitchen smell. No watching TV in the living room after 9 p.m., that was their relaxation time. No having friends over without asking first, it was their house, after all. We just need to establish boundaries, Brooke explained. So everyone's comfortable. I was paying them $2,000 a month for rent. For a room with no windows and a shared bathroom. But I told myself it was temporary. I told myself they were helping me. I told myself I should be grateful. By June, things shifted. Tyler started making comments. Mom, did you really need to buy name brand cereal? We're trying to save money. Can you try to shower faster? The water bill last month was insane. Do you have to run the AC in your room? It's really driving up our PG&E. Brooke was worse. She'd make passive-aggressive posts on Instagram about energy vampires and people who take advantage of your kindness. She never said my name. But when she posted a photo of their peaceful Sunday morning and captioned it, "Finally enjoying our space," I knew exactly what she meant. I was the problem. I started staying in my room. I ate my meals quietly. I tried to be invisible. It didn't matter. On August 15th, everything came to a head. I'd made dinner, just pasta and salad, nothing fancy. Tyler and Brooke came home late. They'd been out with friends. They were loud, laughing, clearly tipsy. Brooke walked into the kitchen, saw the dishes I'd left in the sink, and lost it. Are you kidding me? You can't even clean up after yourself. I was going to wash them. You just what? You sit around all day doing nothing and you can't even do basic chores. Tyler stepped in. Not to defend me. To join her. Mom, she's right. You need to contribute more. You're living here basically for free. I pay you $2,000 a month, which barely covers the extra utilities and food you use. Do you have any idea how much your presence costs us? I felt something crack inside me. Tyler, I'm your mother. And I'm your son. I took you in when no one else would. I gave up my home gym, my peace of mind, my financial stability to help you. And this is how you repay me? By being a burden. Brooke stepped closer. Her face was cold. You're dead weight, Eleanor. You bring nothing to this household except negativity and expense. Honestly, we were better off before you moved in. The room went silent. Tyler didn't correct her. He didn't defend me. He just stood there. Pack your things, he said quietly. I want you out by the end of the week. 3 days later, my belongings were in black garbage bags on their front lawn. Tyler had changed the locks. Brooke posted an Instagram story. Sometimes you have to choose your peace over people's comfort. No regrets. I was 68 years old. Homeless. With $600,000, I couldn't access it because it was in a joint account that Tyler controlled. When I tried to transfer the money back, I found out he'd moved most of it. $450,000 gone. Invested in some crypto scheme that had crashed. The remaining $150,000 was tied up in a business opportunity. I called him. He didn't answer. I called a lawyer. She told me that because it was a joint account and I'd willingly added him, I'd have to sue. It would take months, maybe years. And I'd need money up front for legal fees. I had $1,700 in my personal checking account. I was destroyed. I spent that first week in a motel off Highway 580. $49 a night. Stained carpet. A TV that only got 4 channels. I'd lie in that bed and stare at the ceiling and wonder how I'd gotten here. 68 years old. Widowed. Homeless. Betrayed by my only child. Most people would have given up. I almost did. But on the 8th night, something happened. I was going through old papers, documents I'd grabbed from the house before Tyler threw me out. Bank statements. Insurance papers. David's death certificate. And then I found it. An envelope. Addressed to me. In David's handwriting. My hands shook as I opened it. Inside was a letter. And a key. Eleanor. If you're reading this, I'm gone. And I'm sorry I couldn't tell you this in person. 30 years ago, my brother Kenneth died. You remember, the one who moved to Singapore in 1989. We weren't close. He never married. No kids. When he died, he left me everything. It wasn't much at the time. Some savings. Some investments. I put it away. I didn't touch it. I wanted it to grow. I wanted it to be there for you if anything happened to me. I never told you because I didn't want you to worry about money. I wanted you to live your life focused on what mattered: family, love, the small joys. But now I'm gone. And you need to know. The key in this envelope opens a safe deposit box at Wells Fargo on Market Street in San Francisco. Box 2847. Inside, you'll find documents for an investment account. The current balance should be somewhere around $8 million. Maybe more. I haven't checked in a while. This is yours, Eleanor. All of it. Don't let anyone take it from you. Don't let anyone tell you what to do with it. You've spent your whole life taking care of everyone else. Now take care of yourself. I love you. I'm sorry I'm not there to see what you do next. But I know it will be extraordinary. David. I read that letter 7 times. Then I got in my car and drove to San Francisco. The bank opened at 9 a.m. I was there at 8:45, standing outside with the key clutched in my hand. By 10 a.m., I was sitting in a private office with a financial advisor named Patricia who was looking at me like I'd just walked out of a fairy tale. Mrs. Park, the balance in this account is currently $9.3 million. $9.3 million. I started laughing. Then I started crying. Then I started laughing again. Patricia handed me tissues and smiled. What would you like to do? I want to buy a home. Something beautiful. Something that's mine. And I want to make sure my son can never touch this money. We can absolutely help with that. I spent the next month transforming my life. I hired a lawyer, not a cheap one, a shark, who immediately filed paperwork to dissolve the joint account and sue Tyler for the missing funds. Turns out, moving money out of a joint account without the other party's consent when it's probably their funds? That's called theft. Tyler would have to repay every penny. With interest. I hired a financial advisor who set up trusts, investments, and protections so that no one could ever take advantage of me again. And then I went house hunting. I looked at condos in Nob Hill, townhouses in Pacific Heights, estates in Presidio Heights. And then I found it. The residences at Pacific Heights. A brand new luxury building. Penthouse unit. 4,000 square feet. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Golden Gate Bridge and the bay. 3 bedrooms. 4 bathrooms. A chef's kitchen. A private terrace. $12 million. I bought it in cash. Moving day was in late October. I hired interior designers. I bought art. I bought furniture that cost more than my old house. I joined a book club. I started taking painting classes. I made friends with my neighbors, a retired federal judge, a tech CEO, a best-selling author. For the first time in my life, I wasn't taking care of anyone. I was living. I didn't tell Tyler. I didn't call him. I didn't post about it on social media. But apparently, someone saw me. Someone who knew Tyler. Someone who told him that his mother, the dead weight he'd thrown away, was living in a $12 million penthouse. And that's when he showed up. November 12, 2024. 2:30 in the afternoon. The front desk called up. Mrs. Park, you have visitors. A Tyler Park and a Brooke Park. I almost said to send them away. But I wanted them to see it. I wanted them to understand what they'd lost. Send them up. I stood in my living room, 20-foot ceilings, Italian marble floors, floor-to-ceiling windows framing the Golden Gate Bridge, and I waited. The elevator opened directly into my penthouse. Private access. That's the kind of building this was. Tyler and Brooke stepped out. Their eyes went wide. I watched them take it in. The art on the walls. Custom furniture. The view that real estate agents call priceless. Mom, Tyler said, recovering. Wow. This is incredible. Thank you. How did you, when did you? Buy a $12 million penthouse? October 23rd. Brooke's mouth opened slightly. $12 million. Cash purchase. Silence. Tyler forced a laugh. Mom, why didn't you tell us? We could have helped you move. We could have celebrated with you. You threw me out. You called me dead weight. You stole $450,000 from me. Why would I tell you anything? His face flushed. I didn't steal. It was a joint account. That you emptied without my permission. My lawyer filed charges last month. You'll be hearing from him. Mom, wait. That's not, we can work this out. Can we? Brooke stepped forward and I saw it then. The calculation. The pivot. Eleanor, we were wrong. We were so wrong. We were stressed. We were dealing with our own issues. We took it out on you, and that was unfair. Unfair. Yes. And we want to make it right. We want to be a family again. Tyler nodded eagerly. That's why we came. We heard you bought this place and we thought we could all live here. Together. Start over. 3 bedrooms, right? 1 for you, 1 for us, 1 for… I don't know, guests. We could make it work. I stared at them. They actually thought I'd say yes. You want to move in? To my home? After what you did? We want to make peace, Brooke said. She was using her Instagram voice. Soft, vulnerable, calculated. We want to heal as a family. Where was that energy when you put my belongings in trash bags? Where was that healing energy when you posted on social media about cutting off toxic family members? I deleted that post. After I saw it. After it had been up for 2 weeks. Tyler held up his hands. Mom, we messed up. But we're here now. We're trying. Isn't that what matters? No. What matters is that you showed me exactly who you are when you thought I had nothing. You showed me that your love was conditional. That I only mattered when I was useful. That's not fair. Fair? You want to talk about fair? My voice was rising now and I didn't care. I gave you everything. I paid for your college. I helped with your wedding. I babysat your friends' kids when you needed favors. I loved you unconditionally. And the second I needed help, you threw me away. We were scared. You were greedy. You saw $600,000 and you wanted it. You manipulated me when I was grieving. You isolated me. You emotionally abused me until I believed I was worthless. And then, when you'd taken what you wanted, you discarded me. Brooke's face went cold. The mask slipped. You're really going to act like the victim here? You lived with us for 4 months and did nothing. You didn't contribute. You didn't help around the house. I paid you $2,000 a month to live in a room with no windows. I cooked. I cleaned. I stayed out of your way. And it was never enough. Because you brought the energy down. Every day, walking around like some sad ghost, reminding us that you exist. Brooke. Tyler put a hand on her arm, but she shook him off. No. I'm done pretending. She was miserable to live with. She made our house depressing. And now she's sitting here in her penthouse acting like she's better than us. I am better than you. The words came out quiet. Calm. True. Brooke's face went red. I am better than you, I repeated. Because I would never do to someone what you did to me. I would never look at a person I claimed to love and call them dead weight. I would never steal from them. I would never throw them out like garbage. You don't understand what it's like, Tyler started. To what? To be struggling financially? I was a librarian for 40 years, Tyler. Your father was a teacher. We lived on less than $60,000 a year, and we were happy. We didn't need a 4-bedroom house in Walnut Creek or a Tesla or designer bags. We had love. We had integrity. We had each other. And now you have millions of dollars and you won't even help your own son. There it was. The real reason they'd come. Help you how? Pay your mortgage? Fund Brooke's shopping habit? Invest in another crypto scheme. We're family. No, we're not. Not anymore. Tyler's face crumpled. For a moment, I saw the boy he used to be. The one who'd bring me dandelions from the backyard. The one who'd curl up next to me on the couch and watch movies. But then Brooke pulled out her phone. Fine. If you won't help us willingly, we'll make you. Excuse me. She was typing fast. Elder abuse. Financial manipulation. I'm sure a lawyer would be very interested in how a broke widow suddenly has $12 million. How do we know you didn't hide money from the IRS? How do we know? Brooke, stop. Tyler looked panicked. No. She wants to play hardball? We'll play hardball. We'll sue. We'll go to the press. We'll. I pulled out my phone and tapped the screen. A video started playing. Audio filled the room. You're dead weight, Eleanor. You bring nothing to this household except negativity and expense. It was Brooke's voice. From that night in August. I want you out by the end of the week. Tyler's voice. I'd recorded the whole thing. I hadn't planned to. My phone had been in my pocket, and I'd accidentally hit a record. But I'd kept it. I have 17 minutes of audio from that night. I have text messages. I have your Instagram posts, screenshots, all of it. If you try anything, and I mean anything, I will bury you. Brooke's face went white. Now get out of my home. Mom, Tyler's voice cracked. Get out. They didn't move. I walked to the elevator and pressed the button. The doors opened. I will call security. And then I will call my lawyer. Your choice. Tyler grabbed Brooke's arm and pulled her into the elevator. As the doors closed, I saw his face. Not angry. Not defiant. Broken. Good. That night, I sat on my terrace with a glass of wine and watched the sunset over the Golden Gate Bridge. I thought about David. About the letter he'd left me. About how somehow he'd known, that I'd need that money not just to survive, but to reclaim my life. I thought about the woman I'd been with 6 months ago. Invisible. Diminished. Convinced that I was a burden. And I thought about the woman I was now. I didn't feel triumphant. I didn't feel victorious. I just felt free. In the weeks that followed, things moved quickly. My lawyer won the case against Tyler. He was ordered to repay the $450,000 plus interest. He'd have to sell his house to do it. Brooke filed for separation 2 weeks later. Tyler tried to call me once. I didn't answer. He sent an email. I didn't read it. Some people don't deserve second chances. But here's what I did do. I started a foundation. The Eleanor Park Foundation for Women Over 60. It provides emergency housing, legal assistance, and financial education for older women who've been abandoned or abused by their families. I funded it with $2 million. I'll fund it with more. Because I was lucky. David left me a lifeline. But there are thousands of women my age who don't have that. Who lose everything and have nowhere to turn. I'm going to make sure they have somewhere. I also reconnected with old friends. People I'd lost touch with over the years because I was too busy taking care of everyone else. I joined a grief support group. I started therapy. I learned how to set boundaries, how to recognize manipulation, and how to value myself. I learned that being alone doesn't mean being lonely. I turned 69 in January. I threw myself a party in my penthouse. 30 people. My book club. My painting class. My neighbors. People who saw me really saw me and liked what they saw. Tyler wasn't invited. I don't know if I'll ever forgive him. Right now, I don't want to. Maybe that makes me a bad person. Maybe it makes me a bad mother. But I'm done setting myself on fire to keep other people warm. Here's what I learned from all of this. Your worth is not determined by how useful you are to other people. Being kind doesn't mean being a doormat. Having boundaries doesn't make you selfish. And sometimes, the people who are supposed to love you the most are the ones who hurt you the deepest. Not because they're evil, but because they're selfish. Because they were raised in a world that taught them to value money over people, image over integrity, convenience over loyalty. Tyler wasn't born cruel. I raised him better than that. But somewhere along the way, he learned that people are disposable. That love is transactional. That family is only valuable when it benefits you. And Brooke? She learned that being an influencer means performing kindness while practicing cruelty. That your brand matters more than your behavior. I can't fix them. That's not my job anymore. My job is to live the life David wanted me to have. The life I deserve. Last month, I got a letter. Not from Tyler. From his lawyer. He's trying to have the repayment order reduced. Claims financial hardship. My lawyer laughed when she read it. Want me to fight it? No. Let him pay what he owes. Every penny. That's going to bankrupt him. Good. Maybe it'll teach him something. I don't feel guilty about that. I don't feel guilty about any of it. I spent 68 years being nice. Being accommodating. Putting everyone else first. I'm done. If you're listening to this and you're going through something similar, if someone in your life is making you feel small, worthless, like a burden, please hear me. You are not the problem. Your value doesn't decrease based on someone's inability to see it. And it's never too late to start over. I was 68, homeless, heartbroken, and I built a life more beautiful than anything I'd imagined. If I can do it, you can do it. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for someone to save you. Don't wait for the people who hurt you to suddenly wake up and realize your worth. Save yourself. Build your own life. And when they come crawling back, and they will, don't open the door. If this story moved you, if it made you think differently about family, about worth, about what you deserve, hit that subscribe button. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a comment about your own experience with family betrayal or starting over. And remember, you are never too old, too broke, or too broken to reclaim your life. Thank you for listening to Eleanor's story. I will see you in the next one.